We're live. You may begin.
Hafaday, welcome to the Interagency Council for Coordinating Homeless Programs meeting for today, April 23rd. The time is 11:04 a.m. I would like to make for the record known that the Vice Chair is present, Mayor Robert Hoffman, along with members Elizabeth Napoli from GURA, Edith Pangilinan from the Guam Housing Corporation, Asia Ramos from the Homeless Coalition, Amanda Shelton from Public Health, along with Teresa Ariola from Public Health. Carissa Pangilinan is present from the Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center, and of course, Rob Sanagustin, the director of the office. Since we last met virtually, and I think we referenced this before that, the governor and I have promulgated an executive order that has established the Division of Homelessness Assistance and Poverty Prevention within the Guam Department of Public Health and Social Services, which is, I would say, a very positive move to unify, streamline, and improve government of Guam's response to homelessness programs. And so I'd like to welcome everybody to the meeting, and we will first turn to the DHAP office and Rob Sanagustin. Rob?
Good morning, Lieutenant Governor and all directors. So as Lieutenant Governor mentioned, we are part of public health now. So we are very happy to have the support of all the other divisions that help in this, with poverty and things with benefits and getting all the needed benefits to those who need it. So it's been a good transition so far, and we're looking forward to more work together. So first thing we'll talk about is the Emergency Food Assistance Program, which we call TFAP. So we fully transitioned over now from DOE. We received our first shipment of rice in there, and we are even using our new warehouse in Dededo. So we're still situating all of the shelves and everything like that, but it was a successful unloading of the container, and it looks like we have a good start to that program and what we need there. And so we will be contacting the mayors soon to start that first rollout of those commodities. It was also very helpful. The TFAP program also supported, we'll talk about this later also, but the Passport to Services, we just did our bags for that yesterday, and a lot of the commodities were used for those bags. So it's a very good program for what we're using it for. The next thing we'll talk about, a quick update on the shelter, the Inigo apartments that we have. So we are working with a 60-day window time frame for the renovations to be completed. I did confirm with Chief of Staff that this is the time frame that's still applicable for the completion of the renovations. After we do that, then we, of course, it'll go through the inspections, and then we are coordinating the census list from the other divisions on the possible residents who may be able to go there. Again, the focus is going to be on women and children who can be reunited with their families in there. So I did run into the judiciary, some people from the judiciary yesterday at UOG, and we are working with them, and we're going to get a census with them. I also spoke with Kathy at GURA on their family unification program. So we will be getting a good census of residents who may be able to immediately go in there with the programs they're connected to. Let's see. We are doing, so with the appropriation from the legislature in the budget, we are moving with that $500,000 that's been granted. So the first thing we have been moving on already is the Ministries of Homeless Feeding Support. This is a soup kitchen in Ganya. OHAPP, or DHAP, sorry, has done 3 feedings so far. We did one last night, so we've done 3 weeks of it, and for the rest of the year, we've committed to supporting 20 nights over there. And we've been.
What you're doing, Rob, is you're filling in the gaps because we do, of course, have the anchor partners that have been providing, but there've always been some gaps. So the point is making guaranteeing basically sustenance and food security to that population.
Right. So what we've done, we've been working with Doris Royal at the Ministry to the Homeless. We asked her for whatever nights that do not have sponsors for them for the rest of the year, and so we have filled those gaps in there, and we are feeding, and then hopefully we're able to even expand what they have going on there. We know the facility has showers and stuff, so it's still in the conversation part of it. But if we can expand some type of day services, that may be a possibility in the near future also. Um, what else do we do? We have a safe house pilot that we are starting. We are working with Guam Housing Corp also, and Public Health and the coalition. The safe house pilot, it stands for Shelter Assistance for Elderly. This is a situation that came up from our work with the Lehing Sanafu shelter when it ended. We did have some cases where we had to temporarily shelter some elderly people as we moved them through and got them into permanent housing. I'd like to say that, announce that we have successfully housed all three of them. So the last one went into housing last month, and so we were able to clear out the emergency receiving home that we were using in the meantime, and they are now permanently housed, connected with GURA's Housing First program. And so that's a big success for what we were trying to do there. And they are connected to, their benefits now. So they have their SNAP, Medicaid, permanent housing, and connected to the mayor's offices for the um, senior community centers. And then also the feedings with the CMS and also HSP. So with this shelter assistance for the elderly pilot program, what this is going to be focused on is those who are in medical facilities, GMH or GRMC, and those who can be discharged, but we're trying to avoid from them being discharged back into homelessness on the street. So this house is going to be a place to give them some temporary additional recovery time for them. And then also while they are there, we can get them connected to services and get some case management going on with them. And then also get them signed up for any housing programs that they can be entered into, so that at the end of their time that they're allowed to stay there, hopefully we just have a efficient flow through in the permanent housing for them. And this will also be for any disabled individuals that are also in the hospital and can be discharged. We'll also be supporting the System of Mercy. Director Ariola was directed us to contact the Academy of Our Lady of Guam. And so we conversed with them and were able to get an idea of how much support they needed to continue their daily feedings that they do at Agana. And so that amount, we will be helping them and giving them some money, granting them some money to help support the feeding on their end. I think that's all we can talk about for now with that. We do have some other programs that we are looking into, and we'll see if Deputy Director might want to talk about those a little bit later on.
Yeah, and we'll get those in the on the subcommittee section where we'll be able to talk about recent developments at public health and at behavioral health.
Yeah. That's
Anything
my
else,
report.
Rob?
Thank you. That's good.
All right, and now Asia, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Lieutenant Governor. Thank you. And half a day to the council. I'm excited to talk about the developments of the Guam Homeless Coalition. The first and foremost is our upcoming Passport to Services event. As you all know, this is a huge effort and undertaking by our community to have a one-stop shop for individuals who are at risk of homelessness or experiencing homelessness, or who just want more information about the resources in the community to gather in one spot. This will be happening on Friday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And we have about 28 partners right now signed up to be participants. So it's a great outpour of support from our community partners, our government agencies, and just a great undertaking by the community to support individuals who are homeless. That'll be at the Chamorro Village, and there will be transportation for individuals who need that in several villages. I believe it's Dedado and is it Timoning, Rob? Our vice chair can correct me on that, but buses will be provided from those locations for those who may be needing access. The other piece of information I'd like to share in terms of updates from the Guam Homeless Coalition is that we have been working very diligently as we continue to grow in membership and with fiscal support to increase and strengthen our fiscal and administrative processes, including update our policies and procedures, seeking professional services so that we have a good solid backing to everything that we're doing. And this is a big step for the coalition to really solidify as we continue to look at growth and the potential of eventually one day becoming a nonprofit with the IRS. So that's one of the overall goals that the organization has, and we are gearing up to get there. Lastly, we're really excited to announce, and many have seen in the news, that the Guam Homeless Coalition was selected for a $12,500 donation from Bank Pacific. That was a huge outpour of support from Bank Pacific. It all started with a meeting with the Rotary Club, and Rob and I went out there, did a presentation to really discuss what homelessness looks like in Guam, to dispel maybe some myths of who people see, not necessarily representing those who are the true population. And the community responded really, really well. And we received that donation just last month. So we're really excited to have that additional resource to those in need. And those, I would say, are sort of the biggest projects at hand for the coalition. We continue to meet on a regular basis every month, and we invite anyone from the council to join us at those meetings. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Asia? If not, we'll move down to subcommittees. First go to on the housing side, and we'll first turn to Liz Napoli from Gora.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I think there was a question regarding whether HUD changes are affecting any of the housing programs, and we have not received any word that we are having any of our funding cut, especially for the Emergency Solutions Grant, the Continuum of Care programs. So to our knowledge, everything is still status quo as far as our funding. We have not received any notices of any funding being cut. Other than that, I don't really have any other updates. I know everybody knows about the CDBG-DR town hall meetings that happened, and also briefings that happened with cabinet and all the different agencies, the legislature, et cetera. And so any unmet need comments that any one wants to submit, you need to do that by April 30th. Because if later on applications are submitted and it wasn't addressed as an unmet need, then it can't be entertained as part of the application for the grant funding. And we then have from May 1st to the 15th to be taking a look at all the unmet needs that have been submitted. And we have been working on an action plan that has to be submitted by May 15th. I encourage everyone to please submit your unmet needs. And I know we have received many of them, and submit it by April 30th. Otherwise, anything that you may want to apply for and it wasn't indicated as an unmet need will not be entertained. But that's all I have for today. Thank you.
Okay, great. Edith, is there anything you wanted to bring up?
Holiday, sir, and members of the committee. I actually don't have anything to share other than we do continue to provide the 30-day emergency housing when we do get calls from the mayor's office or the community affairs office. So we try our best to house for 30 days at our own expense to house individuals that are in need of a home. So we continue to provide that. I don't have much to say today. Thank you.
Thank you, Edith. Okay, we'll
Thank
pivot
you.
out now to the case management side. First, Mayor Hoffman, is there anything that you wanted to bring up?
We just continue to service the homeless population that come through our doors. To date, we had 158, which is kind of, we're still at our normal rate of one or two a day that come by. We were able to get the MREs from the FEMA / Congressman Moylan / there's a lot of people involved with this. So we've been giving them a case of that each. And so it's been pretty good. So we've gone about 4 pallets already. So we're very happy.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, we'll pivot over to public health now. And Amanda?
Yes,
So,
sure.
Amanda. And
Good
welcome,
morning.
welcome to this meeting in your new role as Deputy Director.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. We have an update on our assisted living facility, a step-down shelter for our social cases at both our public hospitals at GMH, or our public hospital GMH, as well as our social patients at GRMC. So we have acquired a building in Tamuning, an apartment building that was formerly a dormitory that will have about 30 units that we can move our social cases to decompress our populations at the hospital. They are almost ready to move in. We're waiting on an elevator. We do have medical equipment and just ironing out some things, but we are almost at the end of the process, setting up and ready to move those folks in shortly.
Nice. Anything else from public health? Therese.
Hi, good morning, right? Good morning, everybody. It's 9 o'clock or 11 o'clock. No, 9 o'clock here. So just to piggyback on what Amanda said, I am here at the National Conference on Aging, and specifically, I arranged to see an assisted living facility. I was sharing with the Lieutenant Governor earlier that I believe we hit the jackpot. We reached out to 4 facilities in the Orlando, Florida area. As you know, Florida is the land of senior citizens. And there are many assisted living homes that we could visit and learn from. But I feel we hit the jackpot. We saw a home in a suburban neighborhood, no signage, so there's no stigmatism. It just looks like a normal home, and you walk in, and it was just wonderful. The manager of the home happened to be a pharmacist. He showed us all his paperwork, and if we couldn't be luckier, he shared with us all his forms. All 5 clients are Medicaid clients. So he shared us how Medicaid pays him and everything, and even the forms. But if we couldn't get luckier, he also is an author. And he wrote a book entitled How to Start Up an Assisted Living in a Community That Doesn't Have It. And it's a business plan with all the financial revenue stream. So I think today was very productive. In addition to that, after coming back from the site visit, today just so happens, and it's everything I guess is meant to be, I attended several sessions strictly on assisted living. And so we have a lot of information that is going to be helpful to the government of Guam as we stand up the Tamuning facility that Deputy Amanda had just mentioned for the first time. One of the things, I'm not sure, Lieutenant Governor, if this is the proper time to bring it up, but the work that the Lieutenant Governor's interagency council work is so timely. One of the conference sessions I attended is called a multidisciplinary housing for aging. And 2 states demonstrated how they went about it. And I believe it's something that Guam should consider. The governors of those 2 states declared an executive, wrote an executive order that pulled together housing, aging, multi-sector workforce. And the work that this interagency council has done is literally 3/4 of, we just need a few more people and then it's going to be, I think we've had the same thing. So I just want to say I was very proud to say that Guam already has such a council. We just don't call it multi-generational aging council. We call it a homeless council. But really, this is more about what are we going to do about the aging population and the obvious change in our family dynamics when there is a need for more assisted living facilities on Guam. The 30+ bed apartment that Amanda spoke about is only going to decompress the hospitals. What are we going to do about the many who don't have loved ones or have the capacity to take care of themselves, even if they're single and in a home? So this is a growing nationwide concern. And I'm very proud to have shared that Guam, we might not coin it as Interagency Council for Aging, and it's really predominantly a housing shortage concern, which, as you know, we've been talking about the housing shortage and how Guam is going to address that because people are living longer, less babies being born because this generation is not having babies as much. So the aging population is there. And so congratulations, Lieutenant Governor, because way ahead of a lot of the states that are doing this. However, I do recommend that we do consider writing an executive order to address the aging population concern when it comes to housing. Because as you're already addressing it, but I think we need to make it legal. I think it is something that is deserving of all your hard work, and we need to put it in the right place and give it the right teeth through an executive order. So from Florida, that's my recommendation, just based on everything that's happening. So we're already there. We just need to put it in the right legal instrument through an executive order.
Very good. All right. Another topic this is about the time to review the executive order that established the Interagency Council anyway, and make sure that we further align the membership with what we're seeing out there in the community, right? And of course, one of those gaps. Well, one of the areas for sure on the homelessness front is the behavioral health side. And so recently, I know that, and I kind of talked to Carissa about this the other day, the governor and I have been engaging police, we've been making going out and visiting the various police precincts and understanding from the law enforcement officers frontline what are the areas of concern that need to be further assisted with, right? Of course, one of them are the unsheltered people that have issues in stabilizing themselves with behavioral health services. And of course, sometimes the current situation is, sometimes there's 72-hour hold, sometimes there's efforts to stabilize. People do get stabilized, but when they're released, they're maybe non-compliant to the treatment recommendations that providers are giving. And so I wanted to kind of pivot, and I know Carissa has a bunch of things to report on, but one of the things I'd like her to hit on is the assisted outpatient treatment project, I guess, that we're trying to refine in partnership with the Judiciary of Guam. And what our goals are with regards, especially to people in crisis and those people in crisis that are unsheltered. Carissa?
Sure. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. So assisted outpatient treatment, we recently received a SAMHSA grant for this. So this will be funded for 5 years. Granted, nothing financially changes with SAMHSA, but assisted outpatient treatment means any court-ordered community-based mental health services that we can provide. So what the Lieutenant Governor is talking about with the contact with public safety folks is these are clients that are really known to us, people that we engage with a lot that may not be compliant with the treatment, the recommendations from our providers. And so the partnership with the court would be that me as the director could petition to the judge to ask them then to place an order on this individual to comply with whatever the treatment recommendations are from our professionals. And should they, not comply, then the black robe effect kind of kicks in. But it's really meant to keep folks that are on the streets safe, and based on the recommendation of our professionals. So it aligns though with a mobile crisis response team also that you may have heard us talk about in the past, which we have piloted and collected a lot of data on. But we are now in a place where we are official in the sense that Guam Behavioral Health, the Guam Police Department, and the Guam Fire Department earlier this week now have all signed a memorandum of understanding on, and we have our SOPs in place. We have actually done a soft launch starting just on the 21st, so 3 days ago. We're in a soft launch phase where now we are a 24-hour service. And in May, in celebration of Mental Health Month as well, we will be doing a public launch so that we can get all our, I guess this is sort of public too, because we're in a public forum, but we will do a bigger launch and invite the media also to kind of hear from, the hope is to hear from me, from the police department, and from the fire department on the impact that full-scale mobile crisis response can have on the individuals that we're talking about today. I do want to report on some other things, Lieutenant Governor, if I can. Some of the other efforts that we're doing too, I want to talk about our vulnerable population in substance use treatment. And so we have a population of women that are either pregnant or are postpartum and have children with them who are receiving services, intensive residential services, substance use residential services from us, who oftentimes are also victims, of course, of sexual assault or domestic violence. And so this very vulnerable population, after finishing their intensive treatment with us, have a tougher time finding housing that will continue to support an environment that is conducive to continued recovery. And so with the efforts, of course, of the Lieutenant Governor and this group as well to get, for example, the Anigua apartments, right? And so the Lieutenant Governor is engaged in this conversation for a really long time about setting aside some of those units to be able to put our women in there. And on the Guam behavioral commitment side, it's really for us to continue to provide treatment. This is where we sort of wean off and women will become independent and will be able to afford a place to stay for their family later. But we are also partnered then with the court in their Guam Family Recovery Program. And so the court's effort here with us is they want the children to be able to reunite with their moms. And of course, that's how we're headed in that same direction and wanting to reunite everybody together, but we have to be able to house folks and help them get back on their feet. So that's kind of one of the—
To clarify, those are the ones that the court has already screened that there's potential for success for the reunification with housing support and other supports.
Yeah, and sometimes
because unfortunately
the court says it's just the housing.
Right,
that's
and unfortunately
missing.
there are some that are not suitable for reunification as well.
That's correct. And so we would, for those individuals, Lieutenant Governor, will continue to provide intensive treatment for them because the goal is still going to be, of course, if they're fit to do so, to be reunited with their family. And this is really there is also a big partnership we have with GURA to expand this into other areas as well, including other apartment complexes that may be available on the island. I do want to make an announcement or clarify or provide some reassurances that Project Link, who you guys have kind of known is our homelessness children grant, will be closed. The no-cost extension does end this September, but our services will continue. So although we are losing the federal dollars, I just want to reassure the public that the folks that are providing the intensive case management and wraparound services to these children and their families will just be moved over to our children's division, and we have, identified dollars to ensure that that population continues to be served. So, and they'll still be at the Passport for Services for tomorrow, for example. And we ensured this year that we will have folks from our New Beginnings, our peer support staff from New Beginnings also join, because last year we were informed that there were quite a bit of folks who are substance use clients that did avail of the Passport to Services. So we just want to make sure that we're on site to help connect them back. That's it, sir.
Thank you. Of course, there's still quite a large number of capital improvement projects that are in the pipeline that continue to be worked on. Of course, we're also navigating through the realities in the construction side of the house, where construction costs have escalated, and in some cases, within the administrative process, scopes are being refined and going back out to bid to make it more reasonable and practical for projects to actually get off the ground. And of course, those include the cottage homes in Talofofo that still on the mark, I guess. And then of course we also have our drop-in center as well that is receiving current engineering attention. So Carissa?
Sure. Just a quick update on the cottage home. That is another partnership with GURA, so we're really thankful for this help. But right before Mawar, we had already completed a scope of work with cost estimates and such. And because of the damage, right, that we sustained through Mawar in the recent weeks, we've revisited the facility. We've kind of narrowed down how much of the acreage that we really will need for the cottage homes. And as of last night, we received a cost estimate update, and we're working on refining that scope of work now that was done by GURA. So we're really moving right along with that. And just for public edification, the cottage homes in Talofofo will be used also as transitional housing, but for men we're going to focus on the male population, mostly those coming out of our substance use residential treatment called RSAT, that is in the Department of Corrections as an effort to help with their reentry into society.
Very good. Okay, are there any other topics or other matters that any person present wants to bring up? I, of course, note that Patty Kier from Guam Housing Corporation and Stephanie Flores from the Clearinghouse are also attending the meeting. Any other matters for anybody? If not, Mayor Hoffman.
I got the data from Bureau of Economic Security for the 2024 year, and I noticed a huge drop in people on SNAP. And so that's a wonderful, if the data is correct and accurate on that, it's a wonderful testament from what it was previous years to get people off the welfare work, the public assistance roles onto good paying jobs. So it shows a kind of a shift. So Christine shared with me, because we use the data when we apply for GURA grants and stuff as all the mayors. And when we were looking at the low mod data, it was just amazing to see that even in the GURA segment from the 2020 census, we went from 10 villages that were considered above the low mod population down to 3. So it shows the economy is improving. It shows a bunch of shift in economics. So I'm hoping that we can kind of use some of that data some more, but keep doing the great work that you're all doing here. I think it's testament to that collaboration of the interagency to get people to work, get people trained. So there's, from the labor section all the way down, everyone's doing what they can to get people into homes and to really fight poverty. So good job.
And there's still a lot more work to be done and refined anyway. Thank you for that. Well, just one last question for me to Asia and Rob. What are we tracking for the PIT count? When will you release your data or your report?
So the data is currently with Salvation Army. As per their last membership meeting, they reported their goal is to get it to HUD by April. But in my conversation with Frank from Salvation Army today, he's still currently working on the data to clean it up.
All right. Okay. If there are no other questions from anybody, the meeting is adjourned. Okay. Sorry, Liz Napoli.
Sorry, can I just have at our next meeting, because I noticed that on the agenda there was transportation with GRTA. And I know one of the things that I keep getting asked is regarding that law that where free passes could be given to the low income families, et cetera. And so if maybe we could get some kind of update on what's happening with that program that became public law at our next meeting.
Sure, and actually, I think Rob, there may be because the GRTA leadership has changed. I'm not sure that the meeting announcement went to Mr. Uggan. So if we can bridge that gap with the office and resolve that, and then I think offline for sure, you guys need to work on it. Therese?
Yeah, I've talked to Tim several things because public health, all our programs is asking for bus passes for our specific populations that we serve. But in addition to that, in going back to the Tamuning apartment building, I've asked that GRTA look at putting an immediate bus stop at the apartment building in Tamuning. So discussions with with Tim is definitely happening, but yes, I think he needs to be included as well in these meetings.
Okay.
I do, sorry, just one more thing on the
Carissa.
bus pass. So because our clients also, we reached out directly. GRTA can give a better update on this, but as recent as last week, we reached out about this. They did mention that they are still working through their process on how to do this, but for now they're asking that agencies identify a POC, and then it would just be requested via email. So you would just email GRTA, I need, this many passes, and they're also creating sort of the forms and the log sheets on how to kind of sign them out when we give them to our clients. So it looks like they're working on that.
Correct. In addition to that, I was going to give it to them quarterly, but he's asking it for it monthly. Monthly needs prior to the month.
Okay. All right.
you.
So I think what I would say is if everybody, Rob, if you can resend the executive orders establishing the Interagency Council, if everybody can take a look. Sounds to me like we just need to calibrate and refine it a bit more now that we are several years into it, right? And including on the membership, right? And some of the definitely things have evolved from when we first established this, and it's probably about time to kind of refine, including it could be even stating as one of the missions of what Therese was bringing up with regards to a focus on the aging population. And then, of course, we also have additional resources here coming from DISID, right? We have day centers, a day center that has opened, and I've been pushing to expand day centers. This is actually the day center program is also an opportunity to identify who our at-risk population is going to be, right? Because these are people that are not going to be able to independently live. And of course, they're being currently taken care of by family members, by parents who are also aging out. And so that also, I would say, is right within kind of the focus nationally on the aging population, given I think baby boomers are the largest portion of the population. Birth rate was very high back then. So, those are things that we as the children of the baby boomers, some of us baby boomers ourselves, are able to kind of rapidly act, right? And align what we're doing. All right, is there anything else? Again, the other, Edith.
Okay, sir, just for purposes of record, we need to approve the minutes from the last meeting. And also, today's date is supposed to be Thursday, April 24th.
That's right. Okay, we'll make those changes.
Okay, thank you.
And the other thing is, for those of you receiving federal funds, again, continue to apprise as clearinghouse on any notifications happening from your federal grantors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.